What's happening? This is Joshua Boetsi and you're watching Sporting Icons.
What a load of old pony. The WBC are back at it again. Now, only a week ago, Mauricio Sulaiman was talking about how he understands there's way too many titles and it's very confusing for people to understand and whatever else. And these guys are going to be working on reducing it, making it a lot more easier for people to understand. But instead, what they've done is created another title, or effectively another title. They've now installed Saul Canelo Alvarez as their WBC franchise champion. So what does that mean? Basically, they've just employed him is what they've done. And he's now an ambassador for WBC. So in other words, he will represent the WBC going forward. And all his future bouts will obviously be for these trinket titles that Mauricio Sulaiman and the WBC love to make, Cinco de Mayo, all that kind of thing. So effectively what they've done now is they have stripped him of the world title. That's what they've done, and just bestowed upon him some magic fairy dust, and he's now a super champion of sorts. And if he was to ever retire, he would become WBC champion Emirates. I think I said that wrong, didn't I? Anyway, so what's going to happen now is that the WBC Middleweight Champion is now Jermall Charlo. Now, first of all, I have no issues with them doing this from a certain point of view, outside of the fact that they've just ruined undisputed at middleweight. Because if Demetrius Andrade beats Selecki this weekend and then goes to fight Canelo, it's not going to be for undisputed because Canelo is no longer champion. So you're going to have to fight Jermall Charlo. Now, as I said, I have no issues with Jermall Charlo being champion if he earned it. If he's been fighting some of the best guys around, but he hasn't. Hugo Santana Jr., this bloody, was it Swedish guy? He arguably lost to Korobov last time, and now he's about to fight an absolute nobody, a waste man, in Brandon Adams. So, in my opinion, he hasn't done anything to earn it. Listen, I like Jermall Charlo, but to be realistic, he hasn't fought anybody. He hasn't beaten anybody at middleweight. He was IBF champion at 154, moved up to 160, and put straight in at number one with the WBC. Why? Because he's a PBC fighter. Al Heyman gets favours from the WBC. And we know why. This Brett Yormark, who's on the Supreme Council of the WBC, also runs the Barclays Centre and is on the payroll of Al Heyman Sports, as in the PBC, as a director. It's pretty obvious why the WBC show a whole lot of favouritism towards the PBC and Al Heyman. So they've made sure that Jermall Charlo never has to go over to DAZN and fight one of the champions. Because at some point, this mandatory was going to be called, and Jermall Charlo was going to have to go over and fight Canelo, which first of all, they don't want, and second of all, on DAZN. They want it on Showtime, they want it on Fox, wherever, and it's not going to happen. So they did everything that they could to make sure that fight didn't happen, and now they're going to hold that title to ransom. As I said, I have no issue with Jermall Charlo being champion. I don't have too much issue with them doing this with Canelo. I wish that they'd have done it after Undisputed. I wish that, they'd have done that, but they didn't want to wait for maybe one fight or maybe two fights and then for Undisputed and then maybe do it after. No, they didn't want to do that. What they want to do is install Jermall Charlo as champion without him having to do anything. That's the realistic truth of it. And Canelo is now going to be franchise champion and basically walking around as their champion. He's effectively a super champion, but he's not really a champion. They've sprinkled this fairy dust on him, as I said, and have just made him this super champion that doesn't have a belt. That he doesn't really defend or lose or whatever it may be. And he can't be undisputed. If he wants to be undisputed, he's going to have to fight Demetrius Andrade, beat him, and then go fight Jermall Charlo. But Jermall Charlo isn't going to give a voluntary defence to anybody on his own. Al Heyman will make sure of it. You know this is going to happen, and do not be surprised. Do not be surprised if they do the same thing with Deontay Wilder. They'll install him as franchise champion. Potentially, we may have Dillian Whyte versus Oscar Rivas for the WBC Heavyweight World title. So don't be surprised if that happens. Again, if they did that, that would be designed to make sure that Dillian Whyte and Wilder never fight. Why? Because they're frightened to death. They don't want Deontay Wilder to have to step up. That's my opinion, at least, anyway. Obviously, I don't know that for a fact, but it just seems to be that that's pretty much the route that they're going to go with. Mauricio Sulaiman being Mexican, Canelo Alvarez being Mexican, Canelo Alvarez being a cash cow. Mauricio Sulaiman wants some of that pot, as in that money. He wants that purse. But Canelo isn't champion. He's effectively what Ronaldo is to DAZN, a global ambassador for the company. Anyway, you drop your thoughts below about it. For me, the WBC, full of these stupid ideas just to help out the PBC, while not effectively hurting Canelo. Outside of the fact that Canelo can never be undisputed at middleweight anymore. In fact, undisputed at middleweight, everybody, all the Charlo fans, the PBC fans, etc., you may well be happy that Charlo is champion, but remember, the things that you guys were talking about, where all you want is the best fight and the best and undisputed, you're now not going to get it, because Al Heyman and Jermall Charlo are not going to fight Demetrius Andrade, Canelo, Triple G, Billy Joe Saunders, or anybody like that. It just isn't going to happen anymore. They're now going to hold that belt hostage, much like Wilder has been with the WBC heavyweight title. But listen, it is what it is. Look up and down the WBC rankings and you will see them filled with PBC fighters. Corruption much? Well, it is what it is. Drop your thoughts below about it. Click thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.